miles out of Papua New Guinea here. We just got hit from behind by a really bad squall with all our full mainsail up, and turned into really, really high winds and just sideways rain.
Adventure is something that grabbed a hold of me early on.
Tyler Bradt, a kayaker for whom boating is a badge of honor. He paddles over waterfalls and breaks records doing it.
Oh my God.
I've been fortunate enough to live a life filled with new experiences and wild expeditions around the globe. In 2012, I embarked on the biggest, most ambitious expedition of my life.
I'm excited. This is the most excited I've been the whole time. Woo.
With zero experience, I decided to pour every penny I had into the purchase of a 44-foot sailboat named the Wizard's Eye. The goal, alongside a rotating group of friends, old and new, was to circumnavigate the globe using the Wizard's Eye as a vessel of exploration.
This is like paradise.
This is the story of how the Wizard's Eye changed the course of my life forever. To go back to the very beginning, I guess it all started that day my dad first put me in a kayak. It was really the moment my life changed forever. My whole life, all that I wanted to do was be a pro kayaker, man. Dad got me into kayaking when I was 6 years old.
But it just seemed like a normal thing to do. The rivers are here, we like to kayak and raft, so we just did what seemed a normal thing. And the kids went beyond our wildest expectations.
Okay, Ty, have a good ride.
As I got older, my dad and his friend Jim Haynes started taking my brother and I on bigger and bigger river trips.
I've known him since he's about 6 years old. We had young sons, and we started realizing we could do river trips with our sons. We already knew what we were doing as far as the outlaw Boy Scout camp. We taught them how to swear and fart, and I'm sure they learned about all sorts of things. Work like a captain, play like a pirate. They knew we were responsible in our real lives. Our sons would see the alternate us on the rivers, and they liked it.
Good one.
As the years went on, my dedication to paddling paid off, and I was asked to be in my first kayaking video at the age of 14.
And I had this film, and I was so proud of it because I had like this 1.5 minute long segment about skipping school and like kayaking, like this decently hard to run.
Hey, Ty, time to wake up and go to school.
To tell the truth, I don't want to go to school today. In fact, I'm not going to school today at all.
Tyler just took that ball and ran with it. Started getting sponsors.
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Port of Missoula and Wave Sport, for donating this award.
Face first!
A few years later, I started competing and traveling more for kayaking, and ultimately met one of my best friends, Rush Sturgis. We were both young and eager to make a career out of kayaking, so shortly after high school, we hit the road together and fully embraced the dirtbag lifestyle.
We are a lot of
There was a pivotal moment in both mine and Tyler's life, and that was going to Africa for the first time, going to Uganda. I was 19, Tyler was probably 18, and we show up in this place where, you know, it's like the land of the lost boys, essentially.
T-Brat's about to hook her, so we're just gonna kick back and enjoy the show.
It was just the epitome of paddling lifestyle, exactly as we dreamed it. This sort of never land, completely lawless, you know, like go huge on the river, paddle all day, spend all night with your friends, just enjoying, and then wake up and do it all over again in the morning. For me, it was this amazing experience to show up not really knowing anybody there, without any money, and just have one of the most incredible experiences of my whole life. I kayaked every day, continued to become a stronger and stronger paddler, and was able to just realize that I was going to be able to live my life from one river to the next and make my way.
Rush and I were becoming stronger and stronger paddlers. Then one day, we got a call from Brad Ludden, who was a few years older than us and one of the best kayakers at the time. Brad was chosen by Outside Magazine to lead a team to Madagascar to kayak some unexplored rivers.
I threw a couple names. He's like, how about Tyler and Rush?
Wheel D and Wheel D.
And I was like, ooh, like, really? Like, all the kayakers out there. He's like, they're up-and-comers, man. I just feel like they'll work hard for it. These guys are talented. I'm like, I know them. Like, they're good dudes, but like, all right, fuck it. Like, you want to do it? We're doing it. And man, the whole thing was just like keeping the wheels on, man. It was just
the wheels were never on.
Wreck. It was just like a slow-motion train wreck.
T-Brat.
Fuck yeah. We were the very first kayaking expedition to ever go to Madagascar. I mean, we got to do just the most out there stuff. Like, remember the first ascent of the Abiqua River? You know,
like, dude, that was nice.
Which is to this day one of the most amazing first ascents I have ever done, probably will ever do.
Truly one of like the best whitewater runs in the world. Just epic in every way, and we stumbled onto it. We got so lucky on this thing. You gotta remember, this is like all pre-Google Earth, like just paper maps out, and you were like,
Team out to lunch.
you're like, well, you could maybe drive into that area, and there's a bridge, and then it looks like down there's another bridge, so probably in a few days to a couple weeks you'll get out. Like, it's just total guesswork.
Like, remember we got stuck in that gorge overnight?
Yeah.
And it was a train
Stuck
ride.
in a gorge overnight.
Yeah, like, get everything down.
Just total, like, kind of epic. And
We're waiting for this train to come by, and when it came by, you had to flag down the conductor and get on the train. And that was like, you had to bribe him, and like, it all happened really quickly. But we waited for like a day.
yeah, like we were waiting forever at the takeouts. We were like, we should just celebrate a little bit and just partake in some of the local
or a wine.
Malagasy rum.
We're in Madagascar in the middle of the wilderness. We don't know how the fuck we're getting out of here. Oh yeah, we know. We're getting a train. But the train hasn't come. Not yet. There's no train.
By the time the train gets there, Rush and Tyler are too drunk to deal. The conductor's like screaming at us.
We were in a coal car, you know, with all this soot from the train is landing on us. Rush and I are wasted.
Do you remember our conversation we had that night, Tyler? Because I genuinely believe that this is a defining moment.
We were talking about how we just needed to run something big, you know? It was like,
We're gonna make it in this pro kayaking thing. You know what? We just gotta run something really big. That is exactly what we did.
it was a natural progression, you know. Rush and I were super dedicated, super focused, and it certainly migrated in the way of big waterfalls.
When it came to big waterfalls, we both sort of had a real love for free fall, and I felt like every single season it was this kind of progression. We were running taller drops, building up, and we had our eyes set on Alexandra, which was the 107-foot waterfall and would be a new world record.
Kind of sketchy. Have you looked at it from real low? Yeah. It's like one slab that juts out at you.
Still not 100%.
Gonna make my call in my paddling gear with my boat at the lip.
I went first on Alexandra and had almost a perfect line. Then it came time for Rush to go. You stuck Alexandra. I got ejected out of my kayak and almost drowned, and that was kind of a big wake-up call.
That was a big one. I don't know if I want to go too much higher than that, but...
Watching Tyler in the sport, starting with 80 foot Sahaley Falls and then 107-foot Alexandra Falls, and Palouse being 189 feet, it was just in this whole different dimension. Like, there was a lot of speculation as to whether or not it was actually possible to run something that big and not just disintegrate on impact. And I had just like gut-wrenching fear in my stomach for you, Tyler, and also feeling semi-responsible for being a part of it.
Palouse was such this like wild gray area, and I'd spend months scouting it, and then eventually one day you were like, hey man, I really want to go look at this thing, because we were both considering running this, and we made the 7-hour drive out to Palouse from White Salmon. And I remember like the moment that we got to that chain link fence and looked over the edge, like, oh my God, this is the perfect level. And I remember telling you, I was like, man, I feel like I really want to run it. And you're like, when do you want to run it? I was like, dude, I want to run it right now. And you were like, well, can you wait till tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I could probably wait till tomorrow.
Did you know that he was going to run Palouse?
I did not. All I got is we're going to go scout a little waterfall. See you tonight.
This is a major step up from what anybody has done before, so it's kind of an unknown realm a little bit for kayaking and what the human body can take.
Definitely makes you a little scared for sure thinking about it, but it's something that I really want to do, enough to throw caution to the wind and try to step up the bar just one more notch. And it was just like the perfect day, man. The team was there, it was sunny, it was windless, there was like the best energy. And I just had this vision, like this waterfall really spoke to me.
Oh my God. Where is it? Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Where you at?
Where are you at?
Holy shit.
And I ran it, and it went so good, and I paddled out with the boys down to the confluence and got back up, and Boomer opened up his computer and showed me the photo, and I was just so taken aback by this photo. Like, I had no idea that it was that big. When you see that boat, it's just like shocking for even me to see that photo, but I mean, it was the culmination of like so much energy and time and thought and pure passion that we both put into this whole pursuit of paddling.
Tonight, Tyler Bradt, a kayaker for whom boating is a badge of honor because his aquatic exploits are life-threatening. He paddles over waterfalls and breaks records doing it.
I cannot wait for you to see this. Around the cooler this morning, we're talking about taking the plunge, and this is one man's dive straight into the history book.
Having run it over and over again in your head, having kayaked for most of my life, I can really visualize what it's like to run a waterfall. So
don't do this at home. We'll see you the next go around the falls. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
I genuinely feel like all these decisions that are made are done so out of pure passion, out of a real desire and belief in what he's doing. To step into that dimension, you know, you really have to be willing to take that kind of ultimate risk. And it all just came to, you know, a halting crash on Abiqua Falls in the Northwest.
I remember that distinctly because I was on a different mission, and I was sort of like in a stranger headspace then, and we were shooting photos, and I had more of this motivation to like get these really cool pictures, and like my motivations were just like super off base, and it became one of the greatest turning points in my life.
Is he okay?
I'm waiting to get an x-ray taken to see what's wrong here. But yeah, everything went pretty wrong.
It was the first time I'd ever tried hand paddling.
Just get a feel for it, dude. It's funny.
My plan with the hand paddles was take a stroke that would set your boat at vertical, and never did I think that once the kayak is vertical, I would be able to take a stroke powerful enough to lift the bow of my kayak. But 30 feet down, having an amazing line, I took a stroke and it lifted my bow enough. And so when my boat kicked flat, I was sitting straight up and my back did a very unnatural forward bend. And when it does such an extreme forward bend, all the tips of the vertebrae start coming together, and it just crushes the front of the vertebrae and explodes the back of the vertebrae, which is how paralysis happens.
Yeah. Nice. Oh.
Hell yeah, dude. Standing upright.
I talked to my neurosurgeon, and he was like, 95% of the people I see with your kind of injury, they never walk again. And the weight of what we're doing really sort of like hit me. You become attached to this identity that you place upon yourself, and ended up building this identity as sort of like this, you know, waterfall huckster, you know, person. And I guess I just got to the point where I was so burned out on having to like kill myself every time I wanted to go and have fun and kayak.
What if I told you that you can't kayak anymore? That's something they can't be a part of your life. What would that mean for you?
Well, I would treat it as I treat everything in life. I think that you can never pin something good or bad because you don't know what outcome that's gonna have on the rest of your life. I would embrace it and accept it and move on and try to find the next adventure.
Just hanging out with you kind of makes me feel more at peace with myself, which I like. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be able to do that for you. Thanks so much for doing it. Yeah, thank you.
Everybody changes, and you know, life isn't about staying the same and holding on to who you are. I think it's about changing and growing and being around people that are open and accepting of that. And I probably won't ever run any big waterfalls again, but I think that journey that it allowed me to have, is certainly the most profound in my life. I realized at that moment that if I really wanted to accomplish something else in my life, that now was the time to do it. And I just sort of had this far-fetched idea that it might be possible to link an adventure sports expedition into a world circumnavigation in a sailboat. And I didn't have any idea on how to sail around the world, but I was like so stubborn and persistent and bullheaded in a way where if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And at that point, I was like, if I can find a boat that floats and it can go around the world, I'm doing it. And one thing led to another, and here we are. I came up with the dumbest idea of my life, sail around the world.